Thank you, Subodh Gupta. Directors of MMRC, senior officers, project director GC members, and my engineering friends. I feel generally very homely in the company of engineers, whether civil, electrical, does not matter. So I'm very happy to be with you this morning. I had the privilege to address MMRC engineers, I think about 12 or 15 months back in the same hall. At that time, the contracts, civil contracts were awarded, works were about to commence, all the contractors have been mobilized. It was at this stage. Today, the situation is different. Yesterday, I had an opportunity to review the present status of the project along with PDGC and the senior officers. This morning, I had a brief view of what is happening at the ground level. First of all, I must congratulate the directors and the GC members for the tremendous or impressive progress they have made on this project. I am calling it impressive because it's only the beginning of the project that you face with many problems. Problems of land acquisition, problems to get permission to cut trees, problems of known utilities, unknown utilities. Then, environmentalists trying to stop the projects, governmental sanctions, even to ensure that there is a steady flow of finance for the project. These are all the primary problems any major project of this type have to face. I find we have surmounted most of these problems, almost I should say 95%. This itself is a great achievement on which I must compliment all of you. Normally, it's in the initial stage that we all get stuck up. That part of it is over. And I find that yesterday, when GC was presenting the progress, although the present progress level is only about 1/3 to half of our proportionate progress expected, I don't think it's too bad. We can still accelerate the work and overtake the time that we have lost. I won't say the time we have lost, it's only in the initial stages. Always to get warmed up takes time. So you should not get worried about it. You should not get dissatisfied or disappointed with the slow progress that we are having today. The most important thing is, you should remember, this is the most difficult metro project this country has so far undertaken. Most difficult. I have been associated with most of the projects, metro projects of this country. In fact, I would say 90% of the metro projects now going on in this country, 13 cities, all of them I had initiated. I had finalized the alignments, the station locations. Most of them prepared the tender documents, started the work, and I was assisting most of the metro projects as either in the capacity of interim consultants or prime consultants like that. So I am very familiar with all the projects going on in the country today. Among them, this is the most difficult, most challenging, and technically most complex project that you should remember. And having had this opportunity to be associated with a project of this type, I think you should consider yourself very lucky. It is not very easy to have the opportunity to associate with a project of this type. And I find that most of the contractors are on the field, they are well organized. In a metro project of this type, of course, the main brunt of the problem, brunt of the work is civil engineering to start with, particularly so in this underground project and this difficult city, this very congested city of Bombay. The civil engineering scope of the work, I would say, is about 60 to 65% of the total project. And this completion, timely completion of civil engineering works will decide your final commercial operation date. What we call the ROD, revenue operating date, is decided by the way we are able to complete the civil works in time. So this is where we have to concentrate first, to see that the civil works are completed on time. The systems, they're all, mostly you find they're all foreign contractors coming, they've got a lot of good track record of doing things well, and they're all systemized. It's very easy, just, it is something like ready-made to come and fit in here. It is of that type. Whereas civil is entirely different. A lot of hard work is involved. And we don't have much time left. Although 54 months have been given to civil contractors to complete all the 7 reaches within this period, is going to be a really challenging task. This morning I have seen the easy part of the project, I would say. The really difficult thing, project is your reaches 1, 2, 3, those reaches are going to be more difficult. Where you don't have many friends to commence the tunneling operations. The whole 4 kilometers, 3 kilometers of tunneling has to be done from one end, and that is going to take time. This is where I want to caution you. Don't get discouraged with the initial setbacks that we may have. Never lose your heart in a project of this type. The challenges will be there. And I mentioned earlier, the more difficult challenges have been overcome. That is taking over the land, taking over various permissions, and of course these pinpricks will continue. The environmentalists, people going to the court orders, these pinpricks will continue. We have to live with that. There's no other way. Now, to overcome some of these difficulties, the most important thing is MMRC has to build up an image of itself. An image which says we mean business. Our job is to finish the work. This message should reach everywhere. All layers of the society, all corridors of the government, that we mean business, we have to finish it. That is one part of it. The other is that this project, completing the project alone is not enough. We have to commission this project and operate this project and make it financially a sustainable project. This is also equally important for us. If you take a project of this type, I don't know how many of you are aware that each day's delay of this project means MMRC has to find another 4.5 crores extra, each day's delay. The importance of finishing the project on time will be very evident from this. Suppose if we delay 10 days, 45 crores, how will they raise this money? The fund flow to this project is already decided. The equity portion of it by the government, the loan portion by the JICA, it's all fixed. You don't have resources to raise money otherwise. So it is very important to say that the projects are completed on time, project is completed on time, and the revenue operation date is adhered to. As on date, you have got 2 RODs. Reach 1 to be completed by June 2021, and the next section to be completed by December 2021. There's not much time left. But having seen many such projects, having handled or helped many such projects, I'm confident this can be done, provided we don't allow things to linger on. And the most important thing in this is decision making. The success of such projects depends upon the earnestness or the courage to take decisions in time and not waiting. Even a day's delay, you know what is going to happen. For us, time is money. 1 day means 4.5 crores. Can you allow project to be delayed by delaying a decision? You can't. You have to find some way to see that things, take decisions and go forward. And take the correct decisions, that is also equally important. Fortunately, we have international experts to assist us, that is through GC, they are available for us. For all technical guidance, technical support, they are available. Finance side also there's no problem, because Japanese funds are earmarked. And the two governments, the equity will flow without any problem I have seen. The finance also is not a problem. The only problem is to see that the project is finished on time. Which I said the most important thing is take decisions on time. And you see, many of the problems that crop up in a project of this type, they can be overcome only by the image of the organization. My own little experience now handling a project in Kochi, the Kochi Metro project, I want to tell you this. When Kochi Metro was taken up, all the people in Kochi and everybody else said Kerala is a very difficult place to work. No decisions can be done. There will be a lot of interference by the politicians, by labor unions. Every day there will be a strike, there will be a bump. And it was sort of a very frightening scene that was presented when we went to take up the Kochi Metro project. But the moment decision was taken that the Kochi Metro will be done by DMRC, I found the whole atmosphere changed. In fact, people were clamoring that there should be no other agency be brought in but DMRC to handle this project. There was a human chain from end to end of the project created for that purpose, that DMRC should be brought in for doing this work. And when DMRC came in, the whole atmosphere changed. That means only because of the image of the Delhi Metro Rail Corporation, that they will, if they take up the work, it will be done on time. And in spite of these difficulties, just what has happened? I don't know whether you are aware that Kochi Metro, the 18 kilometers, after 25 kilometers, 18 kilometers have been opened. 18 kilometers of Kochi Metro is the fastest first section of any metro so far completed in this country. In less than 4 years, 18 kilometers have been done. In spite of this very adverse social environment, working environment, where the roads are so narrow, we were able to do it. Only because of the image of the organization. I brought this Kochi Metro for discussion today is only to show that the image of the organization means a lot. When I say image, it means number of things. First and foremost is the reputation of the organization for integrity. Reputation of the organization for transparency in taking decisions. Reputation of the organization for technical competence. Reputation of the organization for social care. That means when you do a work, you are concerned with the people on the roads. You care for them. You are concerned about the difficulty that they will have to face, like dust nuisance, dislocation in services, traffic problems, that this organization has the competence to handle such problems. That reputation is very important. These are the things, this reputation can come up only by you, not by the top leaders alone, the top officers alone. It should come from every individual in the organization. And this must be evident also. When I say, for example, the integrity of the individuals of the organization, that is very, very important. Every person concerned with this project, there should be nothing, nobody should have doubt about his integrity, of his honesty, of his purpose. That has got to be established. When you have that image of the organization, many things people will be prepared to suffer, will be prepared to put up for the inconvenience for some time, knowing well that this is only for a temporary period, afterwards good days are coming. And that's exactly what has happened in Kochi today. When we started, there were lots of problems. The way it was handled, and after 4 years, if you now go to Kochi, the whole area is so transformed, I find, with one metro line coming. And people are so happy. This is very important. The organization must prove itself first. And when I say organization, it does not depend entirely on the MD or the directors. Every individual of the organization, including the GC staff, we have to show to the people that we mean business, we are capable of doing the business, we will see that the project is done, we're causing you minimum inconvenience, minimum dislocation, minimum disruption in the city. This has got to be proved. That is important. The other thing is, you should have your priorities very clear in implementing a project of this type. The priorities are very, very clear when a metro project is to be taken on, which I repeat in every forum. The most important thing for us is safety of the work. Safety. When I say safety, it means safety of the work, safety of the workers, safety of the public. These are all involved. There should not be even a single instance of anything going wrong. You should give highest priority for safety. These are first priority, because this work is a very, very difficult type of work. And there is a good safety team available with GC. Safety is accomplished in 3 stages in a project of this type. The contractor will have his own safety organization. MMRC must have its own safety organization. NGC will have their own safety organization. We have to ensure that nothing goes wrong. Even if it means a delay of 2 days, 1 week, doesn't matter. But an accident can bring you a lot of bad name, bad publicity, and losses, and time lost. All that will come. This will not allow to happen. Second priority is quality of work. The type of finish that we give. This is where we have to win over the people. If you are able to do quality work and people see that good work is being done, they will automatically have respect for the organization which is executing the work. The way you organize the traffic handling, how the traffic is handled, the way you do the housekeeping around the work sites, that is keeping the roads clean, roads are properly maintained, the barricades that you put for the around the work sites, even the site of the barricades, all this will give a good feeling of excellent housekeeping. That itself, people will have respect for the organization. If they know that things are being done, taking care of that small little things. They have respect for the organization. The government will have respect for the organization. The agencies, the municipal agencies, they will have respect for the organization. This has got to be ensured. That is good quality of work. Third thing is timely completion. This is important mainly because of the finances involved. And particularly for this third line of Bombay Metro, it is mostly underground. And underground lines are very expensive, you know all that. And you will have another big problem here. The metro tariff is going to be same for all lines, whether it's underground, elevated, or everywhere. It is going to be the same tariff. And you have a suburban system here which is working very efficiently, which is so cheap. With the result, you have limitations in putting your fare level very high. You have limitations. So within that fare level, you have to make this organization financially sustainable. If you are going to depend upon the government for subsidies all the time, everybody will lose respect for the whole organization. They will say, we don't want the metro anymore. So that is going to be, to make it financially sustainable is going to be a great challenge. And that can be achieved only if you finish the work on time. You don't allow any cost escalation. And you start your services exactly on the ROD that you fix, revenue operation date that you fix. You know, if you are able to finish a work on time that you promised to the public, automatically public have confidence in you. In Delhi, we were able to win over the government, win over the public, everybody, the press, media, everybody is only because we used to announce a date for completion, and we were completing before time, all the time. Everywhere, every time we are finishing before time. That gives you a lot of confidence. If you are able to do that sort of, create that confidence, I think you will get help from all quarters, including the judiciary, court cases. This has been my personal experience, ladies and gentlemen. If you are able to prove ourselves, even the courts will come to your aid. They will say metro work cannot be stopped. Whatever may be the difficulties which people have to face temporarily, it should be allowed to continue. This is the type of verdict I used to get in Delhi, I used to get in Kerala. Many people went to the court. Kerala High Court took the stand, metro work has to go on, whatever it is. Not even a single stay stopped our work at any time. All because of the image of the organization, the reputation of the organization. This is very important. This is what I would request, particularly the directors and the GC top personnel, to see that this high image of the organization is maintained. Because, as I mentioned, we have limitations, many limitations which other metro projects don't have. Had it been an elevated project, we could have finished it in probably 60% of the cost. We could have finished the whole project. Project is going to be very, very, very expensive here. Now, how do you ensure that the project is finished in time? The project is finished with good quality of work and without any accidents. A lot depends upon the contractors for that. I am speaking basically about the civil engineering contract because we are today concerned with the civil works, completion of civil works on time. As I told you, I am not bothered about the system works. Systems are all done every summer and then you are coming and fitting it up only. It's not a very challenging thing at all. But civil works, if you are able to finish on time, our battle is won. And for that, we entirely depend upon the 7 contractors that we have today. 7 riches have been given to 7 contractors. In a project of this type, always remember, our success depends upon the success of the contractor. If the contractor does well, he is able to finish the work, ultimately the credit comes to us, not to the contractor. He gets only his payment. But ultimately the credit is for the organization. If the contractor fails, we fail. Please remember that. So what is the remedy? We should see that the contractor never fails. And he's enabled to succeed. He should be enabled to succeed. This is the success of a metro management. We should not allow any contractor to fail. We should see that the contractor always succeeds. For that only the whole management expertise is required. The most important thing for a contractor to succeed is timely decisions. A decision means clearance of the designs that he submits. These are all design and construct contracts. All the designs are done by the contractor. There should not be any delay in clearing the designs. There should be no delay in clearing the drawings when he submits. Not only that, it will help him to proceed fast. If you delay, he gets a peg to hang on. His excuses, all the excuses for delays later on. You say, I have not been given this clearance, I have not been given that clearance, this drawing has not been cleared, my design has not been cleared. We should not give any excuse for these delays. This is particularly the responsibility of the general consultants who are in charge of clearing the designs. No, you should have a mechanism by which the moment the contractor submits the design, you are able to clear it very fast. If you have to strengthen that organization, please do that. If you find that people are not competent, change the people. Get people who can change, scrutinize the designs and clear it fast. Such people should be brought in. There should be no mercy in this matter. I would particularly tell the contractors that if there is any delay in such designs with the GC, this should not be tolerated. That is one thing. The other thing is timely payment to the contractors. You can kill a contractor if you hold up his payments for a month or 2 months. I have seen many contractors suffering, many contractors failing because payments are not done in time. Some of his claims are not settled in time. These things you can kill a contractor. These days I work mainly in Kerala. And Kerala is notorious for these delays in payment to contractors. And you know, no contractor wants to come to Kerala for working, only because of this fear that there are delays in making payments. We should never give this sort of impression or this sort of perception in regard to the organization. Payments have got to be made in time. When I was handling Konkan Railway projects, such as mighty projects, most Kandelwal and Mr. Bhatt, both of them are part of the project. You know, we had an excellent system of payments. Any contractor submits the bill, 80% of the bill is paid automatically within 48 hours without a check. And the balance in 7 days' time. So the contractor is very confident. He submits a bill, he is sure of getting the payment in 7 days' time. No, he makes things easy. That gives him the courage to enter into commitments. So the payment the contractor should come with, this is one area where again the GC has to play a very, very positive and prominent role. The GC and MMRC, please, they are two sides of the same coin. It's the same organization but two sides. And they have to work together as an integral unit. As far as public are concerned, as far as the contractors are concerned, both together is the same organization. The client is the same. You should not look as though two different things, and there should be no difference of opinion between the two. And there should not be any tug of war or any disagreement between the GC and the MMRC. This has got to be ensured. And that role is basically with, I would say, the MMRC top management. That the GC goes along with the MMRC in every stage in time. They may have difference of opinion, yes, they can voice a difference of opinion, but Immediately, a decision will be taken who is right or who is wrong. You should not be dragged down. This happens also with the civil section and other system sections also. There should be no difference of opinion. In an organization, you cannot have a large number of power centers or decision-making centers. Ultimately, it's only one. We have to show to the whole city that there's only one organization that is working here, that is the MMRC. There is nothing like a GC separate organization, electrical separate organization, security separate organization. There is nothing like that. There's only one organization, MMRC. In that fashion, we'll have to work. Then only can achieve all these things. It is possible. It is possible, ladies and gentlemen. It has been proved number of times everywhere. It has got to be done. Otherwise, we can't accomplish this. After my site visit this morning, I was spending a little time with director projects about the remaining sections. I find the remaining sections are going to be more difficult than the first section that we have taken up for ROD first. This first section, achieve the ROD, is not a very, very difficult task. But you have to handle the contractors properly. The contractors need both stick as well as a carrot. Both are required. Wherever they have to be encouraged, it has got to be done. They have to be motivated, they have to be encouraged. Wherever they are at fault, you have to use the stick. It is necessary. But when you use the stick, they should know that we are not doing it for harming them. We are doing it only for their own good. That message should be there when you are dealing with the contractors. They should have confidence in their client. The contractor should know that whatever you are doing, ultimately, it is only for his own interest to see that the works are done in time, and he gets, if the works are done in time, he ultimately, financially, he succeeds. Not only that, he gets the good credit for it. His brand name goes up if he does the work in time. That he should understand. That is how he has to be handled. And these days, you should know that all the contractors are not like old-time contractors. In my young days, when civil contractors, they were so humble, so obedient, so docile. You know, they will not enter your room, even an assistant engineer's room, they won't enter, they will keep the chappals outside only. So much of respect they used to have. Today, the contractors are different. They are also equally competent. They have got their own good professionals with them. And they are all people with high standing in the society. You have to treat them in that fashion. That means when you deal with the contractors, you always use very polite language. Don't unnecessarily in public try to belittle them. Always use encouraging words. And that means patting at the back. That is very important to see that you get the best out of them. We have to live with this contractor. We have to see that the contractors succeed. This is very, very important for us. And how to make them succeed, I'm giving a few areas where we have to be very, very careful. The other thing is the difficulty in working in a place like Bombay. Here, the rainfall is very heavy for at least 4 to 5 months in a year. There are unprecedented flooding taking place in many areas. You should see that wherever most of our stations are being done by cut and cover. You do the whole digging first, then only start the station from bottom. You should not allow these cuts to get filled up at all with water during the rainy season. This is the most important precaution you should take before the monsoon. At least 1 month before the monsoon is about to rise, see that any possibility of the station cuts getting flooded or your tunnel shafts getting flooded. This should not be allowed to take place. Most important thing. The other is, there are very many heritage buildings en route, very many old buildings en route, and Bombay city is one thing where without any sort of a provocation. Buildings collapse during monsoon. You see every year, 3-4 such buildings collapse here and people die. Now when you are doing the work, everybody will say that collapse has been triggered by the metro work. That sort of allegation will come. We have to guard against this allegation. This can be done only by keeping meticulous records of the condition of the building in time. Before you enter that area, the buildings have got to be surveyed meticulously, along with an independent party, so that they should not say that you have done the evaluation one-sided. That should not happen. And keep a record of the condition of the buildings in time. And the works are going on, you should have very meticulous monitoring of the condition of the building. Even one crack occurs, immediately you should stop the work, find out why this has happened, rectify it, then only proceed forward. You cannot allow any such thing happening, any building collapsing, even a shed collapsing because of the metro work. We cannot allow it. If that happens, my friends, we have lost our battle. In this matter, the GC has to give the technical support, the methodology, how this is to be achieved. This is very important, how it is to be achieved. This can be done, it's not very difficult. And which will be able to convince people that we have taken all precautions. And still, things have gone beyond what we had expected. This can be managed. Similarly, any inconvenience to the public, any small complaint coming from the public, you should immediately attend to it. Whether access to a house is blocked or telecommunication, some electric line is disrupted, see that immediately it is restored. With all the precautions that you take, with all the planning that you do, some such cases may happen still. But you must have a sort of arrangement by which the moment such a complaint comes, immediately attend to it. You must have something like a hotline to the organization. Something happens immediately. At that time, it is not the time to then put the blame on somebody else. The blame game, blame sharing game can go on later on, but attend to it immediately first. Irrespective of the cost involved, because public are involved. You should not think of the cost at that time, attend to it immediately. This is all the measures necessary to have a good image of the organization. Then I also talked to you about the proper housekeeping at the work sites. All release materials are properly stacked. Excavated materials are taken away in time. The building materials required are brought separately. They are not mixing up with the release materials and the new materials. This housekeeping is very important. That depends upon the man on the site. In short, I would like every one of you to spend more time on the field, not in the office. You should be always on the field, on the time. Your office work should not take more than an hour a day for you. Particularly the general consultants and the field engineers or the MMRC. You must be on the site. See that these sort of things are properly taken care of. And if the contractor is not, see that the contractor does it properly. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a service we are doing. Please don't take the stand that you are only working for MMRC. No. Always have the feeling that we are working for the good of the people, working for the society. And it is our fundamental duty to see that we carry out our work in such a way that people are not put to any difficulties. This has got to be always kept in mind. And then, as I mentioned to you, it's very important to see that the cost of the project is contained. Today, most of the tenders are, civil tenders are all awarded, system tenders are yet to be awarded. Generally, my experience has been handling about 11, 12 metro projects in the country so far. My experience has been the system contract, generally we save money. Particularly, they are all repetitive type of signaling, repetitive type of traction work, repetitive type of rolling stock. The prices come down generally. We save from the estimate. That is my experience. In Kochi Metro, the 18 kilometers that has been completed, the fastest 18 kilometers done in the country so far. You know, in that, the net savings that we made, 500 crores we have saved from that project. Just when I was coming previous day, there was an RTI inquiry raised by one of the people that I had made a mention in one of the public speeches that we have finished the work in time and we have saved money for the government, 500 crores. He wanted details of these 500 crores what you have saved. It's much more than 500 crores. I said approximately 500 crores. Why can't we achieve that here? Civil contracts are final now, we have no control over it. But we see that it does not. We can still save money from the contract amount itself by judicial proper engineering, proper decisions. You can make changes now and then, definitely. It will be necessary. Simply because there's a contract, don't stick to it properly. If there's saving possible, if there's a time can be saved because of changes, please don't hesitate to do that. That's what I want to convey. You can still make changes, provided that gives you a financial advantage, provided it gives you an advantage in time. This should not be lost sight of. I'm not going to talk to you about the system part of it because they are all, mostly now it has become repetitions. Every metro, the same thing is being repeated. Hardly any new technology is being brought in. I think the new technology signaling is CBTC. Incidentally, Kochi Metro was the first metro commissioned with CBTC in the country. Hyderabad came later. Though they started work earlier, they did not commission it. They finished the work, but did not commission. Kochi Metro was the first metro in the country with CBTC signaling system completed in the country. So we find that the new technology brings in savings in time, savings in cost. We should welcome this, wholeheartedly welcome it and see that this sort of thing happens. And finally, what I want to convey to you is your own attitude towards the work. Don't take the position or take the stand that you are working here for your salary. You should be lucky that you are getting an opportunity to work in MMRC. Both GC side, consultant side, everybody, you are getting an opportunity to work in MMRC. That opportunity gives you to serve the people, to serve the country. That should be the attitude. You see, whatever work that you do, generally this has been my experience, there are three principles I always observe, or practice, I would say. Whatever you are doing, don't expect any personal gain, any personal recognition or personal remuneration out of it. You are doing it for the country. What they call loka sangraha. It is for the country that you are doing the work. That sort of feeling. Not merely to earn your salary. And whatever you are doing, do it to the best of your abilities. This is very important. And lastly, always do things with a sort of a mental, is a service to God. That is, and God means the society. You are doing it as a service to society. Your outlook will be entirely different in that fashion. There's a beautiful slogan in Bhagavad Gita. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, it is not a religious text. It is an administrative gospel, I would say. It's a gospel which tells you how to do your duty properly and what you should expect out of it. And there, it is a very clear definition what is a sattvic work or a righteous work, and who is a righteous performer, a sattvic performer. It's very clearly defined, and that applies to us engineers, I can tell you that. These two slokas, written 5,000 years back, spoken by Lord Krishna to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. It looks as though it has been meant for us, these two slokas. I will just repeat them, because I feel this is so important. I started a habit, the moment I took over Konkan Railway as a CMD, I used to give Bhagavad Gita to all the executives join the organization. Not only give to them, but exhort them to read the slokas, understand the meaning, imbibe them, and practice them also. It's also equally important. So this sloka says, who is a righteous worker? Niyatam sangarahitam, araga dveshada kritam, abhala prapsana karma, sattvic, abhala prapsana karma, yet that sattvikam uchyate. In short, it says, you perform your work without any real attachment to it, without the pride that I am doing it and I am responsible for it, and do it the way it has got to be done, and don't expect any reward out of it. That work is called a righteous work. Similarly, there is a righteous performer, a sattvic performer. That is also mentioned there. That says, Mukta Sango Anaham Vadi Dityutsaha Samanvidaha Siddhi Siddhyor Nirvikaraha Sa Sattvic Sakarta Svatika Uchyate. It's also more or less the same thing. That a person who does his work as ordained for him, and it is duty that he should perform it, and he does it without any pride in doing it, without taking any credit for what he has done, and without unaffected by the success or failure of this work. Such a performer is a righteous performer. Don't you think these two slokas are written for us? Even today they are so pertinent to us, relevant to us. If you perform your duty in that fashion, the success is yours. And in Bhagavad Gita, there is also one particular this thing, Nahi Kalyana Krit Kaschit Durgadim Tada Gachadi. It's a very beautiful promise that has been given, that if you do your work sincerely and correctly, you will never fail in your performance. If that is the type of attitude that you have, ladies and gentlemen, we can perform our work properly, we can see that the project is completed on time and completed within the estimated cost, and make this project available to the public in time. You know, just imagine the importance of this project. It is just an artery from north to south. If this project is completed, what benefit is going to come to the whole city? For this, we have to do a little more. I would not say self-introspection, but take the people in confidence, the difficulty that we will have to face, and how we are going to solve. In all these matters, we have to be very, very truthful. Something happens, never try to hide from the public or from the government or from any agency. We come out, this has happened, and this is what we are going to do to get over it. We must have a good public relation system in the whole organization. I don't know whether you already have corporate feeling. You got a corporate feeling. That will convey what we are going to do, how we are going to achieve the public. This can be made, public can be made aware of it. This is, you see, when I started all these things, Konkan Railway, Delhi Metro, I started with what is our corporate objective? How we are going to achieve these objectives? And stick to these things very, very meticulously. That sort of thing is necessary. You have undertaken a very, very difficult task. I must again remind you, this is the most difficult and challenging metro project I've seen so far in this country. And your constant efforts to see that the project succeeds is very, very essential. Both GC side and MMRC side. And you have to work, as I mentioned, as a one team. There should be no difference of opinion, there should be no pulling apart. And if you are able to practice whatever I mentioned to you, we can easily see that the project is finished on time, and that's very important. There may be some delays, as I mentioned, but I find what delays have so far taken place, it's easy to recover it, to overtake these delays. It is possible. But probably the first one or two reaches, where you have to do long tunnel driving, 4.5 kilometers only from one end, we have to probably find some way how to reduce the time for the tunnel driving. That needs a little more examination. I think the GC should apply their mind properly. We have to find some, otherwise those first two reaches or first three reaches it's going to take a lot of time to finish the tunnels, the stations, then finishing work, then system installations is going to take a lot of time. How to finish this work in time? This has got to be gone into a little more detail. It is possible. We have to find solutions. I'm happy that I could spend some time with you, share my experience and my ideas with you. And the only thing is, this should encourage you, motivate you to see that the project is finished in time. Thank you very much.